In the year 2437, the Galactic Union, a vast coalition of alien civilizations bound by fragile treaties and mutual interests, convened an emergency summit on the neutral moon of Iskthar. The topic of concern was neither a long-forgotten enemy nor a cosmic disaster. It was humanity, a young and ambitious species that had emerged from the Sol system only a few centuries prior. Despite their relative inexperience in the grand tapestry of the galaxy, humanity had spread rapidly, carving out colonies on inhospitable worlds, adapting to alien environments with an ingenuity that left even the most ancient species unsettled. Their rapid expansion, coupled with their unpredictable military strategies and groundbreaking technological advances, had forced the Union to confront the uncomfortable truth. Humanity was no longer a species to ignore. The summit was tense from the outset. The chambers of Iskthar, carved into the moon's crystalline caves, echoed with heated arguments. Representatives from older, more established civilizations dismissed humanity as reckless, unrefined, and dangerous. The Varkith, a warrior race known for their towering physiques and uncompromising ethos, were the most vocal. Their general, a being with emerald-scaled skin and eyes that burned like molten metal, slammed a clawed hand onto the table. "These upstarts," he growled, his voice reverberating through the chamber, "have upset the balance we've maintained for millennia. Their presence threatens the order we've built." Despite the hostility, humanity had been granted an invitation to the summit, more out of curiosity than respect. Their emissaries, led by Ambassador Kara Lin, arrived with no fanfare, no armed escort, and no outward displays of power. Instead, they carried datapads filled with knowledge, projections, and blueprints. Lin, a slender woman with sharp eyes and a calm demeanor, wasted no time addressing the gathered delegates. "We understand your concerns," she began, her voice steady yet firm. "Humanity's expansion may appear aggressive, but it is born not of conquest but of necessity. We are explorers, innovators, and survivors. And we are here not to demand, but to offer." She presented humanity's greatest achievement, an energy technology that harnessed the latent power of quantum fluctuations, providing near-limitless energy for propulsion, manufacturing, and terraforming. With this, Lin explained, the need for resource wars diminishes. Entire worlds can be revitalized, entire civilizations lifted from scarcity. We offer this to the Union freely. Her words hung in the air, enticing yet dangerous. But in exchange, we ask for a seat on the Galactic Council. The room erupted into chaos. Some species, particularly those on the fringes of the Union, whispered among themselves, intrigued by the possibilities. Others, especially the more dominant members, saw the demand as nothing short of audacious. The Varkith general sneered, his sharp teeth glinting under the crystalline light. "Why should we cede power to a species that only recently learned to walk among the stars?" Lin's reply was swift and unwavering. "Because if you don't, we will chart our own course. And history shows that humanity thrives when isolated. When pushed into a corner, we innovate, we adapt, and we persevere. You may not want us as allies, but I promise you, you do not want us as competitors." Her words cast a shadow over the chamber. The Union, for all its unity, was a fragile entity. Many of its member species had joined not out of camaraderie, but out of necessity. The thought of humanity, with their boundless creativity and resilience, operating outside the Union's influence was a prospect that even the most skeptical delegates could not ignore. Debates stretched on for days. Alliances shifted, arguments flared, and compromises were proposed and rejected. Behind closed doors, factions formed and dissolved, each calculating the risks and benefits of humanity's inclusion. It was the Rilith, a species known for their long lifespans and contemplative nature, who ultimately swayed the tide. Their elder, a being resembling a sentient willow tree, addressed the assembly in a voice like rustling leaves. "Humanity reminds us of ourselves in our youth," they said. "Impetuous, yes, but also full of potential. They have already changed the galaxy with their presence. Perhaps it is time we guide that change rather than resist it." Reluctantly, the Union voted in favor of the Treaty of Sol. Humanity was granted a seat on the Galactic Council, a decision that would ripple across the galaxy for centuries to come. The treaty not only formalized humanity's role in galactic politics, but also established new protocols for technological exchange and interspecies collaboration. Over the next 100 years, humanity proved to be an unexpected force for stability. They mediated disputes that had simmered for generations, finding solutions where others saw only stalemates. Their technology revolutionized industries across the galaxy, from agriculture to starship construction. But more than their inventions, it was their perspective, their ability to see unity in diversity, to find strength in collaboration, that reshaped the Union. The Varkith general, once humanity's most vocal critic, eventually admitted, albeit grudgingly, that their inclusion had strengthened the Union. "They are unpredictable, yes," he remarked in his later years. "But perhaps unpredictability is what we needed." The Treaty of Seoul became more than a historical document. It was a symbol of humanity's potential to unite even the most disparate factions. And though the path to acceptance had been fraught with tension and doubt, the galaxy came to understand that humanity's greatest strength lay not in their weapons or their technology, but in their ability to inspire change. The year 2437 marked the first step in humanity's climb to galactic significance, though few at the time could have foreseen how much their presence would alter the cosmic order. When Ambassador Cara Lynn led her delegation into the crystalline halls of the neutral moon of Iskthar, she knew the odds were against them. Humanity's reputation preceded them. In just 3 centuries since their first interstellar forays, they had unsettled the Galactic Union, a coalition that had existed for thousands of years. The Union thrived on predictability, on a carefully balanced equilibrium of power among its member species. Humanity, with its rapid expansion and unorthodox methods, threatened to upend that stability. Lynn's steps echoed on the gleaming floor as she approached the central council chamber. Arrayed in a circular amphitheater were representatives from over 100 alien civilizations. Their forms varied wildly. The gelatinous, translucent Slilax shimmered beside the multi-limbed Urakath, whose metallic exoskeletons caught the chamber's ambient light. Towering above them all were the Varkith, their reptilian physiques bristling with strength and disdain. The room's air crackled with tension as the humans took their place at the center, bathed in the chamber's pale blue glow. "You come here, bringing words of unity," rumbled one of the Varkith, General Orikensal. His voice was a low growl, as though every word teetered on the edge of becoming a roar. "But your history speaks only of division, of conflict, of war. What makes you think you deserve a place among us?" Cara Lynn didn't flinch. Her gaze swept the room, locking eyes, or their equivalents, with the gathered delegates. "You're right," she admitted. "Humanity's history is filled with conflict. But it's also filled with progress, born from that very conflict. Our wars taught us resilience. Our struggles taught us innovation. And now, we offer the fruits of those lessons to you. A gift that can benefit every species here, if you're willing to accept it." The room stirred uneasily. Delegates murmured in their native tongues, their voices blending into an indistinct hum of skepticism and intrigue. Lynn gestured to an aide, who activated a holographic projection. Above the humans' heads, a shimmering model of a planet appeared, its surface barren and lifeless. With a few commands, the projection shifted. Rivers of energy coursed across the planet, transforming its surface. Oceans formed, plant life flourished, and cities rose from the soil, all powered by the limitless energy of humanity's quantum technology. "This," Lynn continued, "is what we've achieved. A means to end scarcity, to terraform the uninhabitable, to bring life to the lifeless. Imagine what the Galactic Union could accomplish with this technology, not just for humanity, but for all of us." The projection faded, leaving the chamber in silence. For a moment, it seemed as though Lynn's words had landed. But then a voice broke the quiet, sharp and disdainful. "And what is the price of this so-called gift?" It came from a score delegate, a serpentine being with scales that shimmered like oil on water. "Do you offer this out of altruism? Or is it merely a bribe to secure your place here?" Lynn smiled faintly. "We do not pretend to be altruists. We seek a place on the Galactic Council, not as equals because we know we have much to learn, but as partners. With a voice, with a vote, with a stake in this shared galaxy." The score hissed in displeasure, but before they could respond, another delegate spoke. Elder Rillith of the Trellans, whose long, vine-like limbs swayed gently, addressed the room. "Perhaps we should consider their offer more carefully. The history of this council is one of missed opportunities. How often have we dismissed the younger races, only to later regret our arrogance?" A ripple of agreement spread among some of the delegates, though the Varkith general's scowl deepened. "And what happens," he barked, "when this species turns their ingenuity against us? When they decide that their so-called progress gives them the right to dominate?" Lynn's calm demeanor hardened, her voice dropping to an icy tone. "Humanity does not seek dominance. But know this, we do not fear isolation. If you turn us away, we will not stop advancing. We will not stop exploring. And history has shown that humanity thrives when the odds are against us. Her words hung in the air like a storm cloud. The delegates deliberated for days, arguments echoing through the chambers. Humanity's potential divided the room. Some saw them as reckless upstarts, a risk to the fragile balance of power. Others saw opportunity, a species with the drive to achieve the impossible, and perhaps the key to revitalizing a stagnating galaxy. In the end, it was the fracturing alliances within the Union itself that decided the matter. The peripheral species, long marginalized by the dominant powers, saw in humanity a chance to disrupt the status quo. With their support, the vote was cast. The Treaty of Seoul was signed, granting humanity a seat on the Galactic Council. For humanity, it was a triumph, but also a responsibility. Over the following decades, their influence grew. They brokered peace between warring factions, introduced technological revolutions, and brought a new dynamism to a council that had grown complacent. Their perspective, shaped by centuries of adversity, proved invaluable in navigating the complexities of galactic politics. Yet, not all were pleased with humanity's rise. The Varkith, nursing their wounded pride, often challenged humanity's decisions, testing their resolve. In one infamous incident, they attempted to block a humanitarian mission to the drought-stricken worlds of the Slilik. But humanity's representatives, leveraging alliances and their characteristic tenacity, outmaneuvered the Varkith politically, ensuring the mission's success. By 2537, a century after the Treaty of Seoul, humanity had cemented its place in the galaxy. Their presence had not only reshaped the Union, but had also inspired other younger races to step forward, demanding greater representation. The Union, once a stagnant body of entrenched powers, became a vibrant and dynamic entity. As Ambassador Lin neared the end of her life, she reflected on that fateful day on Iskthar. "We were never meant to dominate the galaxy," she once told a young historian. "Our strength lies in collaboration, in pushing boundaries together. That is the legacy of the Treaty of Seoul, not just for humanity, but for all who dared to dream of something greater." The signing of the Treaty of Seoul was not the end of the story, but the beginning of humanity's uneasy partnership with the Galactic Union. Though humanity had secured a seat at the table, they quickly learned that membership in the Council brought as many challenges as it did opportunities. For decades, old prejudices lingered among many of the more established species, who viewed humanity's rapid ascent as a disruptive force, one that threatened traditions and the delicate balance of power. Ambassador Cara Lin's success inspired a new generation of human diplomats, engineers, and scientists, each determined to prove their worth to the galaxy. But earning trust was not easy. In the years immediately following the treaty, humanity's every move was scrutinized, every proposal met with skepticism. "They're ambitious," muttered the Varkith General Orakansal during one council session. "Ambition unchecked is a path to ruin." In response, humanity doubled down on collaboration. Rather than assert dominance, they sought opportunities to demonstrate the benefits of partnership. One of their first major contributions came during the crisis of Andoria Prime. The planet, home to the aquatic Andorian species, faced a catastrophic planetary core destabilization caused by ancient mining operations. With the Andorians paralyzed by the scale of the disaster, humanity proposed a radical solution. Dr. Elena Vasquez, a young but brilliant geophysicist, led a joint operation to deploy humanity's experimental quantum stabilization technology. The plan involved drilling into the planet's crust and using a series of calibrated energy pulses to restabilize the core, something no species had ever attempted. The Galactic Union was divided on the matter, with many calling it reckless. "This is human arrogance in action," one delegate declared. "They believe every problem has a solution, even when it doesn't." But the operation succeeded. The Andorians not only survived but thrived, their gratitude cementing a new alliance. More importantly, the success silenced many critics, showing that humanity's unconventional approaches could solve problems that even the most advanced species had deemed impossible. ###the rising tensions. Despite such triumphs, tensions continued to simmer. The Varkith, proud and territorial, viewed humanity's growing influence with disdain. Orakansal, now a senior figure in the Union's military council, orchestrated several political maneuvers aimed at undermining humanity. He rallied other powerful species to block human-led initiatives, painting them as destabilizing influences. "They don't belong here," he would argue in private circles. They're a threat masquerading as allies. One of the most dramatic confrontations occurred during the trade wars of the Rim. The mining-rich Rim worlds, inhabited by the nomadic Kalari, were vital to the Union's energy economy. When the Kalari rebelled against exploitative trade agreements imposed by the Union centuries ago, they blockaded the flow of critical resources. The Varkith advocated for immediate military intervention, dismissing the Kalari as insurgents who needed to be crushed. Humanity, however, proposed an alternative. Ambassador Malik Aaron, a descendant of one of Earth's ancient peace negotiators, led a daring mission to engage with the Kalari directly. Instead of treating them as adversaries, humanity approached them as equals, offering to mediate fairer trade agreements and recognizing their autonomy. The negotiations were tense, and at one point, a Varkith fleet appeared in orbit, threatening to escalate the conflict. But Aaron, leveraging humanity's history of perseverance under pressure, held his ground. "You can destroy their cities," he told the Varkith commander in a now-famous broadcast. "But you cannot destroy their spirit. And in the ashes of this war, you will find only more rebellions." In the end, the Kalari blockade was peacefully lifted, and the new trade agreements became a model for equitable resource sharing throughout the Union. The incident further elevated humanity's reputation as problem solvers, while the Varkith were left fuming at their inability to dictate terms. ###the Shadow Conspiracy. Behind the scenes, however, darker forces were at work. A faction within the Union, led by the Varkith and several allied species, began plotting to remove humanity from the Council entirely. They viewed the Treaty of Soul as a mistake, an error that had allowed a dangerous and unpredictable force into their ranks. The conspiracy came to light during the Starlight Incident, when a human colony ship disappeared near the border of Varkith space. Initial reports suggested a catastrophic engine failure, but evidence soon emerged of sabotage. Data retrieved from the wreckage implicated operatives with ties to anti-human factions within the Union. Outrage spread across Earth and its colonies. The Union scrambled to contain the fallout, but the event galvanized humanity. For the first time since the Treaty of Soul, humanity contemplated withdrawing from the Union. If they cannot honor their own agreements, Ambassador Lin, now retired but still a powerful voice, said in a rare public appearance, then perhaps it is time we walked our own path. ###a Galaxy United. Faced with the prospect of losing humanity, a species whose contributions had become indispensable, a coalition of younger and marginalized species rallied to their defense. The Andorians, Kalari, and even the enigmatic Trellans formed a bloc within the Council, demanding justice for the colony ship and greater accountability from the Union's leadership. The resulting investigation exposed the conspiracy, leading to the trial and expulsion of several high-ranking officials, including Auric and Saul. For the first time, humanity's allies outnumbered their detractors, marking a shift in the Union's power dynamics. This unity was put to the ultimate test when a threat emerged from beyond the galaxy. A rogue fleet of ancient machines, long dormant in a distant void, reawakened and began consuming entire star systems. The Union, fractured and weakened by internal divisions, struggled to mount a coordinated response. It was humanity who proposed the daring plan that would ultimately save the galaxy. Combining their energy technology with the Trellans' biotechnological expertise and the Kalari's guerrilla tactics, they orchestrated a massive, multi-species counteroffensive. The effort required unprecedented cooperation, with human officers leading joint fleets composed of species that had once viewed each other as rivals. The war lasted 5 grueling years, but in the end, the machine fleet was defeated. Humanity's leadership throughout the crisis earned them not just respect, but admiration. For the first time, the Galactic Union began to see itself not as a coalition of disparate factions, but as a true collective, a vision humanity had championed from the beginning. ###legacy. By 2637, 2 centuries after the Treaty of Soul, humanity was no longer viewed as outsiders. They were leaders, innovators, and diplomats whose influence extended far beyond their numbers. Earth had become a hub for interstellar diplomacy, its cultures and ideas embraced by species across the galaxy. The Treaty of Soul, once a controversial gamble, became a symbol of the power of unity. Humanity, once feared for its ambition, had proven that its greatest strength lay in its ability to forge connections, even in the face of suspicion and adversity. And as the galaxy looked to the future, it did so with humanity not as a threat, but as an indispensable partner in shaping a shared destiny. The Treaty of Seoul marked humanity's emergence as a major force in the galaxy, but its signing was only the beginning of a long, tumultuous journey that reshaped interstellar civilization. Humanity's presence in the Galactic Union wasn't merely a political achievement. It was a challenge to centuries of tradition, hierarchy, and complacency among the older species. For humanity, it was an opportunity to grow, adapt, and prove that their unique perspective could transform the galaxy. After the treaty. In the decades following the Treaty of Seoul, humanity focused on establishing its position within the Galactic Union. Their representatives were determined to make Earth and its colonies indispensable. Unlike many member species who relied on bureaucratic inertia, humanity's approach was dynamic. They advocated for practical reforms, from more efficient resource-sharing agreements to enhancing emergency response systems for planetary disasters. Some of the earliest tensions arose not from humanity's policies, but from their cultural differences. Humans brought a sense of urgency, creativity, and unpredictability to the Union Council, traits that baffled the more methodical species. The Authari, known for their meticulous planning and aversion to risk, were among the most vocal critics. They rush into decisions as if the stars themselves are burning out tomorrow, one Authari senator remarked during a debate over a joint exploration initiative. But humanity's audacity often yielded results. When a previously unexplored region of space revealed promising energy anomalies, most council members voted to delay exploration until comprehensive risk assessments could be completed, a process that could take decades. Humanity, however, proposed deploying a hybrid expedition team immediately, using advanced energy shielding developed on Earth. The mission, though risky, uncovered an immense reservoir of dark matter, sparking a new era of energy research. The success silenced critics and bolstered humanity's reputation as a species willing to act when others hesitated. The human factor. One of humanity's most significant contributions to the Galactic Union was their ability to bridge gaps between alien species. Unlike the older civilizations, which often viewed one another through the lens of historical grudges and rivalries, humanity arrived without such baggage. They were seen as outsiders, but also as neutral mediators. This neutrality was put to the test during the Morith-Kalari conflict. The Morith, an insectoid species with a rigid caste system, had been at odds with the nomadic Kalari for centuries over disputed star systems. The conflict escalated into open war, threatening vital trade routes. Efforts by the Galactic Union to mediate had failed repeatedly, as neither side trusted the other, or the Union itself. Humanity proposed a bold plan, a cultural exchange program. It seemed absurd at first. What could warriors and traders share with one another? But under the leadership of Dr. Amina Tal, a renowned human sociologist, representatives from both species were brought to a neutral human colony. There, through shared experiences facilitated by humanity's empathy-driven approach, they began to see each other not as enemies, but as individuals. The program laid the groundwork for a peace treaty that ended one of the Union's longest-running conflicts. Rising antagonism. Not everyone welcomed humanity's influence. The Varkith, still bitter over the Treaty of Seoul, worked tirelessly to undermine them. Their propaganda painted humans as scheming opportunists, a dangerous anomaly in the galaxy's natural order. Varkith military exercises near human colonies became routine, thinly veiled intimidation tactics that escalated tensions. The breaking point came during the Siege of Pharos, a human frontier colony located on the edge of Varkith space. The Varkith claimed the colony violated ancient territorial accords and dispatched a fleet to blockade it. When humanity appealed to the Galactic Union, the response was slow and indecisive, with many council members reluctant to challenge the Varkith. Instead of waiting for help, humanity acted. They deployed a fleet of experimental frigates equipped with advanced cloaking and EMP technology. In a daring operation, human forces disabled the Varkith blockade without firing a single lethal shot, neutralizing their ships and rendering their weapons useless. The move was both a show of strength and restraint, forcing the Varkith to retreat without escalating into war. The incident cemented humanity's reputation as a species that could not be easily intimidated. It also led to reforms within the Union, pushing for faster responses to territorial disputes and clarifying the rights of member species. The Galactic Crisis. Humanity's greatest test came in the form of the Thalanaar emergence. Long before the rise of the Galactic Union, an ancient species known as the Thalanaar had vanished, leaving behind enigmatic ruins and dormant technologies. When one of these ruins was accidentally activated on a distant world, it unleashed an army of autonomous war machines programmed to exterminate organic life. The Thalanaar machines swept through unprepared systems, overwhelming defenses with brutal efficiency. Entire worlds were sterilized before the Galactic Union could mount a coordinated response. Panic spread as the Union's fleets suffered devastating losses, their rigid tactics unable to counter the machines' adaptive strategies. Humanity proposed an unconventional approach. Drawing on their own history of asymmetric warfare, they advocated for a decentralized resistance, combining guerrilla tactics with cutting-edge human technology. They deployed swarms of modular drones, capable of reconfiguring mid-battle, and used misinformation campaigns to misdirect the Thalanaar forces. One of the pivotal moments of the war came during the Battle of Zenthra, where a joint human-Kalari fleet lured a massive Thalanaar dreadnought into a trap. Using holographic projections to simulate an undefended colony, the fleet baited the machine into an asteroid field laced with explosive charges. The destruction of the dreadnought marked a turning point in the war, and humanity's tactics were adopted across the Union. The eventual defeat of the Thalanaar solidified humanity's place in the galaxy. They had not only proven their military ingenuity, but also their capacity to unite diverse species in the face of existential threats. ##### a new era. By the end of the 26th century, humanity was no longer an outsider. Earth and its colonies had become cultural and technological hubs, drawing visitors from across the galaxy. Human art, philosophy, and storytelling captivated alien audiences, offering fresh perspectives that challenged millennia of stagnant traditions. The Galactic Union itself had evolved. Inspired by humanity's example, it embraced reforms that prioritized adaptability and inclusivity. New generations of aliens grew up viewing humans not as upstarts, but as partners and leaders who had reshaped the galaxy for the better. The Treaty of Sol, once a contentious agreement forged in uncertainty, became a symbol of hope. It represented the idea that even the youngest and most underestimated species could rise to greatness, not through domination, but through collaboration, ingenuity, and a relentless drive to push the boundaries of possibility. The signing of the Treaty of Sol was not the end of humanity's struggle for acceptance, but the beginning of a profound transformation in the galaxy. Humanity's arrival on the galactic stage was marked by skepticism, fear, and grudging respect. The older civilizations of the Galactic Union viewed humans as brash newcomers, disruptors of a status quo that had remained stable for millennia. Yet it was precisely humanity's disruptive nature that would become their most valuable contribution to the galaxy. The early years after the treaty were fraught with challenges. Humanity's seat on the Galactic Council was met with resistance at every turn. Established powers like the Varkith Empire and the Athari hierarchy sought to sideline human representatives, dismissing their proposals as naive or reckless. Diplomatic sessions often descended into tense standoffs, with Ambassador Kara Lynn and her successors forced to defend humanity's place with unwavering resolve. Humanity's first victory came not through rhetoric, but through action. A series of solar storms in the Helvar system had destabilized the orbit of a major agricultural planet, threatening billions of lives. While the Union deliberated over a long-term evacuation plan, humanity proposed an immediate, daring solution, deploying their experimental gravitic stabilizers to correct the planet's orbit. The plan was risky and untested, but humanity acted swiftly, dispatching a fleet of engineers and scientists to implement the technology. Against all odds, the mission succeeded. The Helvari, a species long critical of humanity's presence, offered a rare public acknowledgement of gratitude. This success marked a turning point, proving that humanity's resourcefulness could achieve what others deemed impossible. However, such victories came at a cost. Humanity's growing influence made them a target for those who saw their rise as a threat. The Varkith Empire, humiliated by humanity's defiance during the treaty negotiations, launched a covert campaign to undermine them. Trade routes to Earth and its colonies were disrupted by unofficial Varkith raids, and propaganda efforts sought to paint humanity as opportunistic warmongers. These provocations escalated tensions to the brink of open conflict, but humanity refused to be drawn into war. Instead, they leveraged their technological ingenuity, to counter the Varkith threat in unconventional ways. Stealth frigates patrolled trade routes, intercepting raiders with surgical precision, while intelligence operatives uncovered and exposed Varkith propaganda networks, turning public opinion against the Empire. Amid these struggles, humanity continued to push boundaries. Their relentless curiosity drove them to explore regions of space deemed too hazardous or unprofitable by other species. These ventures yielded discoveries that reshaped the galaxy. Self-repairing nanotechnology salvaged from an ancient derelict ship, a mineral-rich nebula that became the foundation for a new era of energy production, and even the first successful attempt at stabilizing wormholes for long-distance travel. Each breakthrough cemented humanity's reputation as innovators willing to venture where others feared to tread. One of humanity's most profound contributions came not from their technology, but from their ability to connect with others. The Galactic Union, for all its grandeur, was often fractured by mistrust and centuries-old rivalries. Humans, unburdened by these histories, approached diplomacy with a fresh perspective. They excelled at finding common ground, often drawing on their own diverse cultural experiences to bridge gaps between alien civilizations. This talent was most evident during the Vorik crisis, when two rival factions of the insectoid Vorik species were on the verge of civil war over resource disputes. Humanity's envoy, a linguist named Dr. Elian Rowe, immersed themselves in Vorik culture, uncovering shared traditions long forgotten by the factions. Through careful negotiation and cultural exchange, Dr. Rowe brokered a peace that many had thought impossible. But the greatest test of humanity's place in the galaxy came with the awakening of the Zalthor constructs. Long dormant machines of a forgotten age, the constructs were discovered on the fringes of explored space. At first, they were a curiosity, a glimpse into the mysteries of the galaxy's ancient past. But when an exploration team accidentally activated one of the constructs, it became clear they were far more than relics. The constructs were weapons of unimaginable power, programmed to eradicate any species they deemed a threat to galactic stability. Within weeks, entire systems were annihilated, their populations wiped out by merciless fleets of autonomous ships. The Galactic Union was paralyzed. Their rigid hierarchies and reliance on consensus delayed their response, allowing the constructs to gain momentum. Humanity, however, acted decisively. Drawing on their history of asymmetric warfare, they proposed a strategy that defied conventional military logic. Instead of meeting the constructs head-on, they employed deception and adaptability. Human scientists developed signal cloaking technology to mask entire fleets, while tacticians devised elaborate feints and traps to lure the constructs into vulnerable positions. In one daring operation, a coalition fleet led by humanity used holographic decoys to simulate a massive colony, baiting the constructs into an ambush that destroyed their central command vessel. Even as they fought, humanity sought to understand their enemy. A team of human researchers, led by the brilliant but eccentric Dr. Lyra Chun, uncovered the construct's origin. They were the remnants of a civilization that had sought to impose order on a chaotic galaxy. Realizing that the constructs operated on an unyielding logic of preserving balance, Dr. Chun devised a plan to reprogram their core directive. In a climactic mission, a human infiltration team boarded the largest construct vessel and uploaded the new code. The constructs, now stripped of their genocidal purpose, ceased their attacks and entered a state of dormancy. The defeat of the constructs was hailed as humanity's greatest triumph. They had not only saved countless lives, but also demonstrated the value of thinking beyond traditional boundaries. The galaxy, once skeptical of humanity's place, now looked to them as leaders and protectors. Their unique blend of ingenuity, empathy, and resilience had proven indispensable. In the centuries that followed, humanity's influence only grew. Their art, music, and storytelling captivated alien audiences, offering new ways of understanding the universe. Their colonies became melting pots of culture and innovation, drawing beings from across the galaxy. The Treaty of Seoul, once a contentious agreement born of necessity, became a symbol of unity and hope. Humanity, the young and audacious species that had once been viewed with suspicion, had reshaped the destiny of the galaxy, not through conquest, but through their relentless drive to overcome the impossible.
The Treaty of Seoul was signed in the quiet expanse of space, its implications echoing far beyond the neutral grounds of Iskthar. What had started as a tense standoff between humanity and the Galactic Union transformed into a fragile but hopeful partnership. Humanity, still considered a fledgling species by the ancient powers of the galaxy, had managed to carve out a place not through sheer force, but through an audacity that defied the norms of galactic diplomacy. The ink on the treaty was barely dry when the real work began. Humanity's first days on the Galactic Council were marked by relentless scrutiny. The older species, those who had watched stars rise and fall for millennia, saw the humans as brash interlopers. Their insistence on adapting quickly and challenging convention grated against the more methodical approaches of the established powers. Ambassador Cara Lynn, who had brokered the treaty with steely resolve, found herself navigating a labyrinth of unspoken rules, ancient feuds, and subtle power plays. But humans were nothing if not adaptive. Lynn and her delegation began studying not just the Council's politics, but the intricate cultures and histories of its members. They attended rituals, learned alien languages, and even incorporated alien philosophies into their proposals. Slowly, skepticism began to thaw. The true turning point came with the crisis in the Thraxis sector. The ancient star at the heart of the sector began to collapse unexpectedly, threatening to consume a cluster of densely populated planets. The Galactic Union, for all its resources, found itself paralyzed by indecision. Decades of bureaucracy had bred a cautious, almost lethargic approach to emergencies. Committees were formed, debates ensued, and precious time slipped away. Humanity, however, acted with urgency. Drawing on their history of rapid disaster response, they mobilized a fleet equipped with experimental energy siphons, devices originally designed for asteroid mining. Despite warnings from the Council that the plan was reckless, humanity pressed forward. Their fleet stabilized the star long enough to evacuate billions of inhabitants, earning the gratitude of the displaced Thraxians. Yet for every success, humanity faced new challenges. Their rise to prominence disrupted the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. The Varkith Empire, humiliated by humanity's victories, began orchestrating covert sabotage. Human trade convoys were ambushed in remote sectors, and whispers of a human menace spread across neutral territories. At the same time, factions within humanity questioned the wisdom of aligning so closely with the Galactic Union. Was it worth sacrificing their independence to sit at a table where they were barely tolerated? The debates grew heated, and fractures began to form within Earth's leadership. Amid this turmoil, humanity continued to innovate. They pushed into uncharted space, driven by an insatiable curiosity that baffled their peers. This exploration yielded extraordinary discoveries: self-replicating biotech that could repair ecosystems, ancient data caches containing forgotten histories, and even a star system rich with the rare elements needed for advanced energy production. Each breakthrough brought new allies and new enemies. Humanity's penchant for sharing their discoveries with the broader galaxy earned them admiration but also deepened the resentment of those who saw them as disruptors of the established order. It was during one of these exploratory missions that humanity encountered the Othron Nexus, an enigmatic species of telepathic beings who had remained isolated for millennia. Initial contact was fraught with misunderstandings. The Othron considered humanity's physical tools crude and their lack of telepathy primitive. But over time, a bond formed. Humans shared their art and music, concepts entirely alien to the Othron, who had long abandoned physical expression. In return, the Othron shared their knowledge of neural technology, leading to the creation of a human-Othron neural interface that revolutionized communication across species. Humanity's ability to bridge gaps between cultures became one of their defining traits. When the Lithari, a nomadic species mistrusted for their piracy, were accused of raiding Union territories, it was humanity that uncovered the truth. The Lithari were not pirates, but desperate refugees fleeing the destruction of their homeworld by an ancient automated fleet. Cara Lynn, now a celebrated diplomat, led negotiations that secured asylum for the Lithari, integrating them into the Union and averting what could have been a catastrophic war. But humanity's greatest challenge came from the depths of the void. In a distant sector, a long-abandoned alien megastructure activated without warning, unleashing an army of synthetic war machines. These constructs, Ancient remnants of a forgotten empire began systematically annihilating entire star systems. The Galactic Union, caught off guard, scrambled to mount a defense. Their traditional strategies proved ineffective against an enemy that adapted as quickly as it attacked. The constructs seemed unstoppable, their technology far beyond anything the Union could muster. Humanity, however, saw an opportunity where others saw despair. Drawing on their history of asymmetric warfare, they devised a strategy that defied convention. Instead of meeting the constructs in open battle, they used decoys, misdirection, and subterfuge to outmaneuver them. Human scientists worked tirelessly to decode the constructs' programming, searching for a weakness. It was a dangerous game, with entire fleets sacrificed to buy time. Yet humanity persisted. Their determination inspired other species to join the fight, creating a coalition unlike any the galaxy had seen. The breakthrough came when human researchers discovered the construct's command protocols were vulnerable to quantum interference. A plan was devised to infiltrate the construct's central hub and disrupt their coordination. The mission, led by a joint team of human and alien operatives, was a testament to the trust humanity had built over decades. Against overwhelming odds, they succeeded, dismantling the construct's network and halting their advance. The victory was celebrated across the galaxy, but humanity refused to rest on their laurels. They proposed a radical idea, repurposing the constructs to rebuild the systems they had destroyed. It was a controversial plan, but one that embodied humanity's ethos of turning adversity into opportunity. The constructs, now reprogrammed, became architects of renewal, reshaping worlds ravaged by their own wrath. As the galaxy rebuilt, humanity's place in the Galactic Union solidified. No longer were they seen as upstarts, they were leaders, innovators, and bridge builders. Their influence extended beyond politics and technology. Their stories, art, and philosophies began to permeate alien cultures, offering new perspectives on existence itself. The Treaty of Seoul, once a begrudging compromise, became a symbol of what was possible when even the most disparate beings found common ground. Humanity, with all their flaws and virtues, had proven that they belonged, not as conquerors, but as collaborators in the vast tapestry of the cosmos.
The galaxy stood at a precipice as humanity's presence on the Galactic Council shifted the tides of diplomacy, technology, and culture. Though the Treaty of Seoul had secured humanity a seat among the stars, it had also placed them under a microscope. Every decision, every misstep, every triumph was magnified, and the eyes of the galaxy were always watching. Yet, despite the scrutiny, humanity thrived in ways the other species could not have foreseen. Their unorthodox approaches, rooted in centuries of survival on a volatile planet, made them unpredictable, innovative, and most importantly, indispensable. The early years were fraught with tension. Humanity's insistence on pushing boundaries often clashed with the cautious nature of the older civilizations. When humanity proposed an initiative to explore the galactic core, an uncharted and perilous region avoided by even the most advanced species, it was met with open ridicule. The Xaranth, a race renowned for their advanced mathematics and starship design, dismissed the plan outright. Even the most durable vessels cannot withstand the gravitational anomalies of the core, they argued. But humanity did not back down. Using a mix of human ingenuity and borrowed alien technology, they designed a fleet of modular ships capable of adapting to the unpredictable conditions. Against all odds, they succeeded in reaching the core, uncovering vast energy reserves and ancient relics that would fuel advancements for centuries to come. This audacious feat silenced many of their critics and solidified their reputation as fearless pioneers. But success came at a cost. The discoveries in the core awakened an ancient threat, the Valeth, a machine race that had been dormant for eons. The Valeth operated on principles that defied even the most advanced scientific understanding, dismantling entire star systems with a precision and efficiency that bordered on the divine. As the Valeth began their march across the galaxy, fear rippled through the Council. Species that had once prided themselves on their resilience now sought refuge, abandoning their colonies and retreating to fortified homeworlds. The Council convened in desperation, debating strategies that seemed destined to fail. It was humanity that proposed an unthinkable solution. Instead of fleeing, they suggested engaging the Valeth on their own terms, by learning from them. Humanity's scientists worked tirelessly to decipher the Veilith's technology, studying their movements and patterns with an intensity born of necessity. They proposed a plan that involved infiltrating the Veilith's central network using a hybrid human-alien AI, a concept many deemed suicidal. But humanity was unyielding, arguing that the galaxy's survival depended on understanding their enemy rather than simply reacting to it. The mission, codenamed Eclipse, was launched with a coalition of species, led by a human operative named Commander Elias Vaughn. Elias was an unlikely hero, a former scavenger turned military strategist whose unconventional tactics had earned him equal parts admiration and infamy. His team, composed of individuals from 7 different species, represented a fragile unity forged in the crucible of crisis. Together, they infiltrated the Veilith's domain, a labyrinth of interstellar megastructures that dwarfed even the grandest creations of the Galactic Union. The mission was harrowing, with losses that weighed heavily on those who survived, but they succeeded in their objective. By embedding their AI within the Veilith's network, they discovered a startling truth. The machines were not inherently malevolent, but driven by an ancient directive to preserve order at all costs, a directive warped by millennia of isolation. Armed with this knowledge, humanity spearheaded an effort to rewrite the Veilith's programming. It was a delicate operation, requiring the combined expertise of dozens of species, but it marked a turning point in galactic history. The Veilith, once an unstoppable force of destruction, became allies in the reconstruction of the galaxy. Their unmatched efficiency was repurposed to restore ecosystems, rebuild infrastructure, and safeguard colonies. What began as humanity's greatest gamble ended as a testament to their ability to transform enemies into partners. As the galaxy rebuilt, humanity's influence extended beyond politics and warfare. Their culture, once dismissed as primitive or chaotic, began to resonate with other species. Music, literature, and art flowed across borders, inspiring new forms of expression among civilizations that had grown stagnant. The Lithari, a species whose rigid traditions had stifled creativity, adopted human storytelling techniques, creating epic narratives that blended their history with humanity's. The crystalline Hrak, a species that communicated through light and sound, found inspiration in human symphonies, crafting luminous performances that dazzled audiences across the stars. Despite their successes, humanity remained acutely aware of the delicate balance they had achieved. Not all species welcomed their rise. The Varkith, still nursing old grudges, worked in the shadows to undermine their influence. Sabotage, espionage, and political maneuvering became the tools of those who sought to diminish humanity's role. But humanity was not without its own vulnerabilities. As they became more integrated into the galactic community, internal divisions began to surface. Some factions on Earth argued for a more isolationist approach, fearing that humanity's rapid expansion was stretching their resources too thin. Others pushed for even deeper integration, seeing it as the only path to lasting peace. These debates, while often fractious, were a testament to humanity's democratic spirit, a strength that allowed them to navigate even the most contentious issues. In the centuries that followed, humanity continued to evolve. They pioneered advancements in bioengineering, creating hybrid technologies that combined the best traits of multiple species. They explored the mysteries of the quantum realm, unlocking secrets that redefined the boundaries of reality. Their colonies flourished, not as mere outposts, but as vibrant centers of culture and innovation. And through it all, they remained true to the principles that had guided them from the beginning: curiosity, resilience, and the belief that progress was only meaningful when shared. The Treaty of Soul, once a fragile agreement born of necessity, became a cornerstone of galactic unity. Humanity, with all their imperfections and contradictions, had proven that they belonged among the stars, not as conquerors, but as collaborators, innovators, and dreamers. Their story, woven into the fabric of the galaxy, became a beacon of hope for species old and new, a reminder that even in the vastness of the cosmos, unity could triumph over division.